mostly deployed in banks because they need to have a private key, public key pair. The private key would never leave the HSM. So this is like a HSM card for each of us, So the private key, the key pairs are generated inside this chip. The public key is given out. The private key remains inside the sensor. So it cannot be, nobody can have access to the private key except for the owner. And that person will initiate the usage of private key after a fingerprints match. Okay, so this is the concept behind this. Now, what it provides us is a whole lot of benefits. So let me share a small one or two slide presentation. Just give me a second. I'll just share this.
Yeah. Sure.
So what I'm sharing is, if you typically look at an enterprise, so what I'm just sharing this slide. I think you can see this now.
Yeah, it's presented.
Okay, so this is what this product enables. Okay, so one, it innovatively combines the public key infrastructure and biometric. Now, zero trust is a buzzword these days. Essentially meaning I don't trust anything. I don't trust username. I don't trust passwords. I don't trust the machine from which it is connected to. So that's a zero trust philosophy. So this approach is adopted here to eliminate credential compromise. You can prevent phishing attacks. Now, within an enterprise, phishing attacks may be very few, but nevertheless, if you think of extending it to your customers or others outside your network, then phishing attacks becomes very, very critical. And so since you are eliminating username password itself, even if somebody clicks on a phishing link, there is no credentials to share. So that's the beauty of the solution. So it eliminates, it prevents phishing attacks, and thereby contributing significantly to fraud reduction. Now, when I say IAM and CIAM, IAM is the identity and access management. It is used for employees within an enterprise. CIAM is the extended arm of the organization, which is the consumer IAM. An example could be banking transactions. So you, as internet banking, mobile banking, you could extend this to that. And in fact, the demonstration I will be doing would be something similar. I would demonstrate the technology using a simulated net banking, mobile banking scenario. So that would help understand what is possible with the solution. So what is happening here is security is enhanced because you are using two popular secure technologies, biometric and PKI, but equally the user experience is also enhanced because there is no password fatigue, which is one of the biggest concerns for employees. Can be eliminated. So that's what we achieve with passwordless authentication. You can extend this to transaction authorization, meaning in your organization you may have payment approvals or purchase approvals. So those can also be done with biometric, and you could extend it to signing. Now, signing is typically proving that a person has indeed done a transaction. So you could actually repudiation issues can be addressed with signing, digital signing. And you could use it across multiple devices. If you notice that this particular device that I showed you is with a Type-C connector. So you can actually use it on a mobile phone or with suitable converters. In fact, I have a converter here, which I can use it to plug it into a normal USB. Okay. Yeah, so this is what it does. And just to give you some details, so this has got the crypto controller is certified to common criteria standards. Common criteria is a world over standard. Okay, so this is like FIPS, the Federal Information Processing Standard. So that's similar to that is the common criteria. Evaluation assurance levels, that is EAL. 7 is the highest. This is catering to, this is almost as good as it can be. Okay, and this has got a non-mutable serial number. The controller comes with a non-mutable serial number. So, and this is how you associate a key to a user. Okay, so that's one of the feature that is when we chose this controller. These are the cryptographic function it adopts. So you have asymmetric cryptography. I presume I can be a bit technical, right?
What is this non-mutable serial number?
Okay, so this controller that is provided inside this hardware has a non-mutable serial number provisioned at the time of manufacture of this controller itself. So this is from Infineon. Infineon is a German company. So when these devices, when they get manufactured, they are provisioned with a non-mutable 32-bit serial number.
Okay.
So this cannot be changed. Okay.
Okay.
So nobody can manipulate this to make certain changes. That's the
Understood.
Okay, so that's non-mutable, and these are the cryptographic functions. So this is you have asymmetric, whether you use elliptical curve cryptography or RSA, and TRNG is true random number generation, which is critical for PKI. When you generate key pairs, the random number generated should be true. Okay, so that is what TRNG does, and these are all standard compliant. Then the key exchange happens for symmetric encryption. Now, when you start with authenticating both sides and then you exchange a key, which will be used for symmetric encryption. That is when you establish a TLS session. Okay, so that's what happens with the cipher that we are talking of, AES 256. And then hashing function is done through the SHA 256, and signing happens with these algorithms. And these are the standards that we adopt. OpenID Connect is used for passwordless authentication. SAML is security assertion markup language, which is an older version, but we support that as well. FIDO2 is one of the world over standard now, fast identity online. So our product is FIDO2 certified. In fact, the only product in the world today which is FIDO2 level 2 biometric enabled device. Okay, so that's one of the unique achievements from our side. And as I said, this has got a very fast anti-spoof match-in sensor. Okay, so this is what the whole product is in a single page. And I was mentioning about FIDO2 certification. This is the one. So if you notice, FIDO certified level 2 with biometric, we are the only company in the world as of now.
Okay.
And FIDO is a very, very popular standard adopted by all biggies, Microsoft, HP, Google, IBM, name it, and they are all part of this alliance. The FIDO Alliance is a world over standard, and we got the certificate as recent as October 18, 2021. Okay, so this is a very recent this thing, and we went through a rigorous process to get this. Okay,
understood.
Now the advantage of this certification is in case you are on an Azure AD login, okay, this FIDO can be configured to allow you login seamlessly. You don't have to do anything. Just plug in the device, keep your fingerprint, you are logged in. Okay, so that's the power of what is possible with FIDO2 on an Azure AD environment. Okay. Now, you may be using on-prem AD, right? Or Active Directory?
It's on cloud.
On cloud?
Yeah.
The Azure AD?
Azure, yeah.
Oh, great. So then I think you should see this. Let me just set this up for you. Let me try. I hope I can set this up so that I can show you the. So I have this. Okay, let me just let me see if this boots up, and I should be able to show you Azure AD authentication. So let me stop this for the time being. I'll just stop this presentation.
Sure.
I'll come back on my screen for you to see this.
Yeah.
I've given this because this is because I can actually show it on my laptop, but obviously since I'm using it for presentation, I don't think I'll be able to. No, let me just. I presume they have not eliminated the. I'll just focus on this. Is this clear?
Yeah, I can see your laptop screen. Yeah.
Okay. So now what happens is, let me try this if it works. So now you see that it is asking me for the authentication. I just click on that. That's it. I've logged in. So if you notice what I did, I mean, there is, it will not be so, there is a, so let me do it again. I'll just lock this computer, right?
Okay.
I'm going to click on this. It is asking me for my fingerprint. I just keep my fingerprint and take it. That's it. I've logged in.
Okay.
So this is actually Azure AD, my account. on this laptop configured for a demonstration. So again, I'll do it. I'll lock my computer. I click on this. The light blinks blue here. I just keep it and take it. That's it. I've logged it.
Okay.
So it's so fast, so seamless that it works on Azure AD, particularly on Azure AD. There is no question of anything. I just use the basic Windows that is available and log into Azure AD. So that's one thing. So this can be straight away. In fact, I can give you 4 or 5 keys and configure your account, and it's a matter of 5 minutes for us.
So one question. So like, let's say most of the users USB access been not provided. It's blocked.
So that's very easily handled. Each of our devices has a unique vendor ID, PID, the product ID. Okay. So if you take any product for that matter, whether it is Logitech keyboard, mouse, they all have a VID, PID that is unique. This is provided by the USB organization. Okay. In your environment, you can whitelist those VIDs and PIDs. Okay, that's it. So then you can allow. So that's the way we would do it now, because if there are keyboard, mouse that you use it with USB, the wireless ones, you have to do it this way only.
Okay.
I mean, those days where we had a separate interface for keyboard and mouse, those days are gone. Now it is everything in USB. So you have to whitelist those vendor ID, PIDs, and the remaining will still be blocked.
Okay.
So that's so one demonstration. What you saw is Active Directory, Azure Active Directory login. In case it is a local Active Directory, I mean you have it on-prem, then we have to provide something called a credential provider. So it's a small piece of software that we'll have to install it on the laptop. With that you can log in. Okay, with the same device. Okay, but if it is Azure AD, you don't even need that. You can directly plug in the device, configure it one time, and you're up and running.
Okay.
So that's on the Azure AD. So now let me do a demonstration of a true passwordless authentication. So I'm going to use this key. So I have, since you have to see me do this demo, I'm going to remove this and use a cable. So I'm going to use this cable to demonstrate so that you can see me as I do the demonstration. Okay. So I'm going to switch off this video and come on my camera so that you can see me do the demo simultaneously.
Yeah.
Just give me a second while I set it up. Yeah, I'm just sharing my screen now. Am I visible?
Yes.
Okay, so you can see the browser screen and me on the other side, right? Now, and you can see me have this. Now, just observe what happens. I'm going to demonstrate passwordless authentication to start with, and this is a mock net banking transaction. Okay, that it's a small app that we create. I mean, application that we created for this. So there is this tab called InnalT Key Banking, right? You can see this. I'm going to click on that. So this will, just like any other application, open up a screen which will wait for credentials to be inputted, right? So in this screen, just watch what I'm doing. I'm going to plug this in. And the moment it plugs in, it recognizes the device. A fingerprint icon comes up. The light is blinking blue. I just keep any of my enrolled fingerprint on this. That's it, I've logged in. Okay. Now, let me tell you what all has happened in the process. The moment I connected it, it established the TLS session with the server. Now the TLS handshake, I mean, if you know the technical aspect, public key infrastructure used, initially asymmetric is done, then an symmetric key is transferred, which is used for symmetric encryption. That is the first thing that happens. Then this key is validated, whether this is genuine and authentic. Once it is validated, using the serial number that is associated with this key, it will find out the user, that is me, and then verify whether I have access to this application that I have requested access. And once it verifies that, it puts up the fingerprint screen on the system that I am connected to. I verify my fingerprint. It validates the fingerprint on this device, sends a response back to the server. Now the server generates a token and gives it to the application. The application which used to validate user with username password will now validate with the token. So the token is something that you can construct in the way you want it. You can give additional information also. You can give, for example, GPS coordinates. All that can be provided as part of this token. Now, tokenization is something that is now current. I mean, people are moving away from username passwords. And what you have seen now is a true passwordless authentication. And indirectly, I've also eliminated phishing attacks. So that has also happened indirectly. Now, let me show you the fingerprints that are enrolled. Now, you see that these are the 3 fingerprints that are enrolled. My right forefinger, left thumb, and right thumb. Only these 3 fingers are enrolled, which means my middle finger is, if I use it, should not be allowed. Okay, so this is what I'm going to demonstrate now. I'm going to try with my middle finger. It should prevent me access. So let me log off and log in with my middle finger. Now just watch what happens. I'm going to click here to continue.
Yeah.
As soon as the fingerprint icon comes and the light blinks blue, I'm going to keep my middle finger. It will prevent me access, as it has done now. So it has refused access to me. So I'm going to log in again with my enrolled finger. I can use my forefinger or my right thumb. I'm using my right thumb. So it has allowed me to log in. So let me enroll my middle finger now, so that you can see how easy it is to do that as well. So I'm going to select my right middle finger. I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to add. Now observe, my finger is bigger than the sensor. Okay, so what I need to do is I'm going to cover all parts of my sensor as I enroll. So I'm just moving my finger so that all parts of my finger is covered. So when I verify, the false acceptance, false rejections will not happen. So now you see that my right middle finger is enrolled. Now, if I log in with my middle finger, it should allow access. So let's try that. I'm going to log in again. So now when it's asking me for my fingerprint, I'm going to keep my middle finger. But if you notice, I enrolled with this orientation. I'm going to try with an orientation that is different. Okay, so I'm going to try at an angle. I'm going to try it like this. So let's see what happens. It accepts that also. So the sensor is intelligent to rotate images and match it in real time. It will be done in milliseconds. So inside the sensor itself. So that's the speed at which it works. So earlier my middle finger was denied access. After I enrolled, I am now able to log in. Okay, now let me do one more thing. Let me do a transaction. This is a dummy transaction. I'm going to transfer some money to a beneficiary. So let's say I'm transferring something like 6,300. And I'm going to create this transaction. I'm going to approve it. And the light blinks blue. I just keep any of my fingers. So I keep my middle finger. That's it. The transaction is approved. No OTP, nothing. Now, this is a demonstration for you to think of how you want to use it within SAP or other applications. Okay. So this is basically that. Now, what you see, if you go back and look at the transaction history, the transaction that we did just now is appearing here, the 6,300. And if you look at the details, you can see that there is a signature at the end. Now let me let me verify the signature, for which I will generate this JWT data. JWT is JSON Web Token. Okay, I'm going to copy this encoded information. I'm going to another site where we have created, this is a tool that we have created for verifications. I'm going to paste this content here. And if I click on verify signature, you can see that the signature is verified at the bottom. Now I change one character, I change the small w to capital W and click on verify signature, it says an invalid signature. So this is proof that I have done the transaction using this key signed by the private key inside this device. So now I cannot deny that I have not done the transaction. There is a clear signature that is now available. So you put it back, put back the small character, the signature is verified. So you can use this to validate if somebody has, if you want to prove, let's say somebody has approved a transaction and later on if that person is denying, this can be the proof that will ensure that he or she has actually done the transaction. Now this signature, you can also extend it to documents. There are a lot of documents created, there are sensitive documents, and you want to affix a signature, you could also do that. Okay. So these are the demonstration. Now, as I told you, I have 2 keys. Okay, I can use the other key in case I forget to bring one. I can always use the other key. So let me show that on my mobile phone. So I will do that as well. So I'm going to. This is going to be a bit crude. I hope you can see this.
Yeah.
Okay. So there is this app that we have created called for InnalT. This is our InnalT is our biometric framework. I mean, basically innate is something innate to you, INNATE. So we just change the last two alphabets to IT. So that's how this innate name was created. So I'm going to plug this into the port. If you notice that the light comes up. Yeah, and now it is ready for access. So I click on the app. It should recognize the device and bring up the fingerprint as it has done now. The light blinks. I keep any of my enrolled finger. My thumb is enrolled, and that's it logged in. So this is device agnostic as well. So you can, using suitable converters, you can use it across devices. Okay. So that's the demonstration from my side. So what all I have done today is, I mean, let me just come out and come on my normal screen. Just give me a second. One second. Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, so what I have demonstrated now is passwordless authentication, transaction authorization, transaction signing, and multi-device use. I demonstrated it on my laptop, I demonstrated on a mobile phone, and I also demonstrated Azure AD login. So now these are the things that I have been able to demonstrate. Now let me go back to the presentation. I would like to share one more slide, and with that I think we can have any questions that you may have.
Sure.
One second, I'm just sharing the screen. Now, typically, if you look at it from an enterprise perspective, I mean, whatever, you can see the screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this is a need for any IT organization within an enterprise. They want to use, I mean, IT assets that is being used should be having reliable identification. There should be prevention of impersonation. I mean, elimination of password fatigue is something that all the employees would love. Obviously, issues related to password compromise. Non-repudiation is something that is to be proven. So it can be achieved through signing. Audit trails and compliance, depending on the industry you are in, maybe it is that could be a need for compliance, or trails can be used for various analysis purposes. So this is what it is. Now let us visualize a scenario where an employee comes to an organization. Now what all would that person do? So they will start with attendance. Now time and attendance has been there for several decades now, but what we provide is with a difference. We provide it in such a manner that a person can mark his or her time and attendance from anywhere in the world. And we will provide a simple app if it is on a mobile phone where the person's biometric is verified before and the GPS coordinates are also captured. You could have a geofence algorithm in the central part. That is the central. That is where the core application resides. You could have a geofenced application and then decide whether the persons can be marked attendance. Okay. Now this has one more benefit, because there are situations where some customers have said that only if an employee marked their attendance should they have access to the IT assets. So there are requirements like this, that this can be achieved with this. Okay, so once you mark an attendance, the next thing that the person would do is an AD login. They come to a LDAP, I mean a domain login, right? So that is now, I mean, I showed you the demonstration with Azure AD. You could also do it for on-prem AD or LDAP if you are using any open LDAP services. So that is that. Then the person gets into the domain, and next they all get into the various applications. Now you may have tens or hundreds of applications that is exposed to various users. Now for this you can do both. You can do 2FA or single sign-on. Now by design, this product of ours is already two factors. You have biometric, you have PKI. So technically it is already two factors. But you can extend it as a single sign-on also. So meaning you can decide to give out tokens to the respective application after validating the biometric of the person. So that is possible with single sign-on. So not only it's a productivity, it is also secure productivity enhancement that happens with whatever we provide as a single sign-on. But however, if you want to have a two-factor, which is probably the way one would deploy it in an SAP, you could do that as well. But SAP with Azure AD works seamlessly. So you can actually use an Azure AD login and then SAP login happens seamless. Okay, so that is the other aspect as far as SAP is concerned. Then you have what we call as a vault. Now this is where you can do three functions. You can hash a document, you can sign a document, you can encrypt a document. Okay, so these three functions are possible, and you can make it available for hierarchical use. Meaning a team member who may be creating a document, you could hash it and that person can sign it, and then it can be encrypted for your access. So your hierarchy based access is available for these files as well. So that is what the vault provides. Now in pharma industries, in insurance companies, they are all very happy to have document signing because it's a very critical feature for them. Maybe in your, because you do a lot of projects, there could be some sensitive documents that you may want to sign and secure it. So that is possible with this module. This is for system administrators. I mean, you know, all these the system administrators log in, they are the privileged users, no? Because they have access to sensitive information, being given the administrative privileges that they carry. So it is important that you know who is logging in and what commands they have executed. So this module helps you with ensuring the login of the who has logged in and also capture the various commands that he or she has executed. Now, the reason why this is becoming important is, I mean, I don't know if it is relevant these days, but in those days, you will have a system administrator using a common ID called DB admin or sysadmin or network admin. I mean, there are no user ID. This will be a common ID given to a set of 4 or 5 people. And and if somebody makes a mistake, you will not be able to pin it to a person who has actually done the mistake. With this, you can. With biometric, you can also do that. So that's another. That's how this product was created. But then we extended to logging all the commands that these people do, so that for analysis it will be useful. So that's the Bionics. That's a privileged identity management module. And finally, we have this event verification. Any multi-stage event. I mean, to give you an example, pharma industry where you do clinical trials, it is important that the same person comes for every stage of the trial. So with this, with this module, you initially capture the biometric and verify the biometric before you proceed with the subsequent trials. The other example could be multi-stage interviews. No, so I mean, in fact, IBM wanted this long back. So multi-stage interview that they attend, they want to ensure that it is the same person who's attending all the stages of interview. So this is what our innate framework can provide organization. And the advantage is you can take any module whenever you want it. There is a central core, and then you can keep adding modules as and when you want it. So this is what we wanted to demonstrate to you. Yeah, so now we can get into any, I mean, if you have any questions, we can discuss that, Nilka.
Okay. So the organization like us, so we are specifically into the construction and highways.
Yes.
So what are the use cases you can recommend other than the biometric?
Okay, so I mean, we are see this entity that I mean today's discussion was mostly around biometric and security. Okay, so that's essentially where. So now you will obviously have a whole lot of users who will be accessing the IT assets, right? Now, you may not want to extend it to all the contract people and things like that, but within your organization, there are employees you may want to start with. As I said, the earlier screen I shared with you, starting with attendance, domain authentication, application authentication. If you want to have files secured, these things are possible to be extended to all the employees. And for system administrators, you can look at the Bionics module where you can ensure that whatever they do is also tracked for subsequent analysis. So you can actually essentially make a secure environment for authentication. So we are only talking authentication layer. And within the authentication layer, you are making it secure with PKI and biometric. You are making it passwordless, meaning the password fatigue issues can be removed. And that's the approach that you can think of. But as I understand before the presentation, you were keen to explore SAP. I mean, SAP. So SAP is one piece of what we can do, but you can do a lot more. I mean, you can think of other applications that can be brought into this network also.
Understood. So can it also be used for like data leakage and prevention?
Yes. No, I'll tell you, Nikan, what will happen is, not directly, your data leak prevention is basically controlled by other applications. Now, your Active Directory can be much secure. Now, you will have a lot of requests for user ID password changes. Okay. And you will have people who are roaming, you don't know whether they are securely correcting. Okay, a lot of those vulnerabilities can be eliminated indirectly, enhancing the security. But what you're talking about the DLP is basically that's a separate solution. We are coming on the authentication layer. So definitely because you're Azure ID, you've got an added advantage. Now the seamless integration in terms of this will give a great experience for a unique. This also we can brand it. Now, for example, this device, what uniquely we can do is we can create your logo on that. You can make it very so innovative, and you will be the first of its kind to use this. Now, once you have this, your SAP, now currently you may have a lot of challenges in terms of who is approving. His user ID passwords might be shared by somebody. You can eliminate all that. Now, only an authorized person can approve. You can also bring in the nature checker. We will help you with all that, like the SDK required, the integration efforts required, we will provide you. Right? SAP ABAP team has to only work with us. That's all.
No, let me just add to what Raj said. See, now you mentioned data leak. Okay, now this data leak could be documents or it could be database centric information, right? Now, if you ensure that authentication and audit trails are enabled, you will know if something happens anywhere. Okay, so if somebody has given a command and they are trying to extract information from the database, so that will only be only the system administrators or application developers will be able to have access directly through the back. Through the front, it is always going to be username password. So you will know who has logged in. Okay, that is one thing that you can do. When you look at documents, we could use the vault feature where all these documents that are sensitive are encrypted and stored. Hashed, signed, encrypted. So even if somebody takes this particular data, they will not be able to use it because it is already encrypted. So this is one way to prevent data leak may happen, but nobody will be able to use it because they are encrypted. So these are some of the things that you can think of. And the other extension of this is approvals. No, can happen while people are mobile. If you enable a mobile app to them, I mean, if let's say somebody has to approve a purchase, and if that person is not in office, the person can log in through the mobile app and use his fingerprint to approve a transaction. So these are other extensions that are possible. So authentication, transaction authorization, signing, and multi-device use. Now, these are the things for contributing to passwordless authentication, meaning users are not only able to securely access, but also their password fatigue is removed because they don't have to remember passwords and all that. Now, this indirectly helps your IT team also. I mean, there is no need for complicated password policies, replacing every month with characters and all that. So all that can be simplified. And so that's the advantage you get.
So currently, Nitkan, typically we face this issue. Sorry to interrupt you. When we show this demonstration, it's a very powerful solution. Like DLP is only a client level control, while what Mathew was talking about is a database thing. There still is a vulnerability because the database, if they run a SQL query and take the data out, nobody knows. Okay, while we are all looking at the endpoint thing, so we are talking about. Typically, we face this with a lot of CIOs. Since Mathew was personally available, you want to give a demo. What I will do is coming week I am in Bombay, so I will fix it up with you and come and meet you. Okay, specific to your environment. Okay, we'll try to explore. I will suggest certain things, and then we both can come to one or two use cases, which is going to be the wow factor for the organization.
That is then,
we can do a POC specifically. We are willing to invest. Okay, we'll give you a couple of devices for you. I will drive the POC personally so that you get the hands-on feel. Based on the POC outcomes, okay, then you will be able to take a decision how beneficial it is to your organization. Definitely, we see a lot of benefits, but in terms of convincing your CEO, it becomes easier. Okay, and all these are very priced very innovatively. It's less than $50 per device, kind of. So it's like you end up by spending very less, you get a fantastic solution. Both. So we talked on the cost aspect also, and this. So what I will do is after this meeting, I will share the deck for your consumption, so that you can peacefully you can go through. And coming week, when I come over, I'll come and personally meet you, and we'll finalize the use case. and then we'll take it for POs.
Sure. Got it.
Is it okay?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks,
I'll be
Ram.
happy to do that.
So thanks, Nilkan, for your time. I hope you found it useful. So
Yeah.
Any questions you may have, let us know. We'll be happy to clarify them.
Sure. Share the deck also, as you said, so that it becomes for me to think over it, and then maybe I can also find out some few more use cases.
Absolutely. Just one final thing. How many applications do you use now for?
So right now we have around 5 applications plus a few more we are evaluating, and slowly we will get that implemented.
Okay, so the SAP is one of them.
SAP is one of them. Yeah.
So and outside that, those are all bespoke, or you have all bought it out? I mean, these are all developed in-house, or?
Yeah. Few are developed in-house, and others are it's all ready-made implemented.
Packaged product that has been
Packaged
customized.
product. Yeah, exactly.
Great. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Mathew. Thank you, Balam. Thank you.
Okay, take it.
Thanks.
Thank you.